What's going on, you guys? Fulster, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'll be doing a Diana jungle guide. I used to play this a lot until it got nerfed quite hard due to the way they changed the jungle with catch-up experience and all that, and early game junglers becoming way better. But recently that's been kind of shifting since early game junglers are actually getting nerfed a bit more. Meaning Diana actually came back into being a pretty good jungler. I've been playing her quite a lot recently, and let me tell you, she can really take away games. So that's why I'm gonna make a guide on her for you guys right now, so you can test them out yourself. Now, this is the rune page I use on Diana. It is called Elise because it's the exact same rune page I use for Elise. It is flat AP quints and glyphs, then scaling health seals and flat attack speed reds. This is the optimal setup for Diana. The early AP is gonna make sure that you take little or no damage in your jungle because you will get a bigger shield from your W, meaning that your W will just negate pretty much all your damage you take. Plus, you also deal more damage so you kill the camps faster, which is just beneficial in general. You want to take attack speed because with Diana's passive, that's the main thing you're gonna use to clear your early game jungle, so attack speed, just to get that third proc up faster and faster, that's really beneficial. Also, when trying to fight and 1v1 people in the early game, let's say you're not level 6 yet, you don't have your ultimate yet, you might be like level 4, level 5. If you have that extra attack speed and a red buff, for example, you're most likely just going to 1v1 people, because you deal so much damage with auto attacks, you do it so fast and your passive will proc often, that you're most likely going to come out ahead in any 1v1. And yeah, that's really the reason you pick up attack speed over Magic Pen. Magic Pen isn't really advised because it slows down your jungle clear. Sure, it does help you a little bit with burst damage later in the game, but that's about it. Then I take scaling health on the seals because all you really want on Diana is to have a higher health pool. Armor seals not beneficial because you don't take any damage whilst you're jungling, because you take the Hunter's Potion, Hunter's Talisman with the fact that you have that shield. So that's pretty much the rune page for Diana. Onto the mastery page. This is the mastery page I use for Diana. I go for the sorcery for the increased ability damage. This matters actually a lot because you deal so much ability damage that 2% extra can make the difference between getting a kill or not. And you already have the attack speed in your runes. Like 15% attack speed is enough, so you don't need Fury in this case. Fury is just kinda whatever. Now, there are a couple things you can do. I tend to go for Feast most of the time, just because this allows me to be like way more healthy in the jungle. 20 health on Diana is actually a lot of HP, because it's just on the brink of not having to use potions constantly. This will just regen your entire jungle clear usually. You can also go for Fresh Blood if you want to have a little bit more burst damage, but I mean, it doesn't really matter all that much. I just like the tiny bit of extra sustain, especially when I'm trying to like 1v1 people in the early game. I'd much rather have 20 extra HP than deal like a tiny bit of extra damage. So that's why I just go for Feast in general. Then I take Vampirism 1 point in it, because that's all you need. It's a little bit of spell vamp that you'll notice with just 1 point. 1 point is enough. And then you take the natural talent for overall base damage, because that's gonna help you more, pretty much. Then you take Double-Edged Sword because you want to deal that extra damage in the early game. Sure, you take a little bit of extra damage, but on Diana that again doesn't necessarily matter because you have your shield from your W, and your goal is to one-shot people later on anyway. So taking extra damage when you're gonna one-shot people isn't really gonna matter a lot, because they're gonna be gone before they can respawn at all. Now here you take Savagery. You auto-attack a lot as Diana, so this is gonna matter a lot in just increasing your overall jungle clear speed. Now, there are two things you can take. You can take Assassin, or you can take the Runic Affinity. This will keep your blue buff for longer, the Runic Affinity, which is obviously beneficial since Diana does use quite a lot of mana. But in general, I tend to prefer the Assassin, and then I combine that with picking 2 points into the Meditation, because it just, like, it gives you that little bit of extra mana sustain that will matter quite a bit. And then you don't really need the increased blue buff duration, especially when you combine it with the Hunter's Potion that you're gonna have to get on Diana, because it's really important. And dealing this little bit of extra damage, again, combine that with this little bit of extra damage from sorcery, matters quite a lot. Just in 1v1ing people early on and all that stuff. Then I take 3 points Merciless, just to get a little bit of a damage increase. I don't really take 5 points Meditation, because you don't really need that. Like, regenerating 0.5% of your missing mana every 5 seconds already is quite a lot, so there's really no need to get anything more. If you have like next to no mana, then this just regens more than enough. And then I take Dangerous Game because this just instantly replenishes 5% health and mana, which can matter a lot since you just jump in, one-shot somebody, and then potentially get some mana back to like R out or something like that, or maybe just some health back to survive. You also have the Zonias, which is gonna matter quite a lot when you're diving in, so this could save your life a lot of the time, let me put it that way. And then you take Precision, just Magic Pen overall. Magic Pen is better on Diana than getting CDR because she already has quite low cooldowns, so you don't really need that cooldown reduction. Plus your ultimate resets if you hit it on a Q, so then cooldown reduction doesn't even come into play at all. And yeah, the cooldown of your Q is like a couple seconds, so cooldown reduction on that, not that beneficial, so Magic Pen overall better. And then you want to take Thunderlords as the keystone for Diana, because this is going to provide you with extra burst damage, and the more burst damage you have, the easier it is to one-shot somebody, so that's pretty much all you want. Now, over to the item build. Here we go, that's the item build. I go for a start with the Hunter's Talisman and a refillable potion. You honestly don't need the refillable potion. The talisman is more than enough to sustain you throughout your entire clear. But just for some safety, you might as well pick it up, because it'd also be kind of strange if you just don't buy that and then just walk around with 150 gold. Because you are, again, going for the Hunter's Potion anyway. This potion right here, the Hunter's Potion. You gotta pick that up every single game on Diana Jungle. You just have to, because the mana sustain you get from the Hunter's Potion whilst clearing your jungle camps matters a lot. Because you use a lot of mana if you wanna clear effectively. You don't have to use like every single ability on every single camp, but like for the W you use, the Hunter's Potion will replenish the mana you used. Plus your AP jungle item will also replenish some mana, so this is gonna keep you at high mana once you're just clearing, so you'll have the mana to gank people. Now, your core build on Diana is going to be the AP jungle item in either a blue or a red smite. This depends on the enemy team. If they are a bunch of tanks, or like mostly tanks, or even 2 tanks already, you just pick up red smite. Because you're not gonna burst tanks, like that's not gonna happen, so having a little bit of extra burst damage in that situation doesn't matter. You might as well take a bit more reduced damage and deal a bit more damage over time, and that's also what the item build will like reflect in that situation if you're going for the red smite. The blue smite in most games is what you go for on Diana, because you just want to one-shot squishies, and most of the games there will not be too many tanky targets, so yeah. But it just depends on the game, so just make sure you buy accordingly. Now, the boots you always want to go for is the Sorks. It's going to give you 15 magic penetration, which is a lot of magic pen to get, especially early on Diana. It's going to allow you to one-shot people a lot easier, and that's pretty much all you want. This is always going to be my item after the completed jungle item, just because of the damage increase and mobility increase, and there's really nothing more you could ask for. Now, after picking up those boots, the item you always want to get, no matter what, is Zonias. This item is really big when it comes to just making plays and diving into the enemy team to like one-shot squishies and get out. You could pick up like damage items, for example, and then jump in and get out that isn't Zonias, but the chance of you getting out are way reduced. Because with Zonias you're able to survive for longer, you're gonna get your Q cooldown back, you're gonna get your W cooldown back if you time it properly, and then you just like use it again, get the extra shield from W, and walk away. That's most likely what's gonna happen in most scenarios. You could still get one shot because you are a squishy mage, but yeah, overall it's the best item you could get. It allows you to play so aggressive that the enemy finds it hard to respond sometimes. Now, after picking up that Zonias, there are a couple of item options. You see them here. It's the Death Cap, the Void Staff, the Lich Bane, or the Nashor's Tooth. Nashor's Tooth and Lich Bane are 2 items that pretty much go in each other's slot. So it is either Nashor's or Lich Bane, either one of the 2. And again, this correlates with your jungle items. So blue smite, you go Lich Bane. Red smite, you go Nashor's Tooth. Nashor's Tooth is there to do more sustained damage, and if they have tanks, you want to be dealing more sustained damage and less overall burst damage, because sustained damage is going to matter a lot more when you're fighting tanks. So if you're going for a red smite in your build, you want to get the Nashor's Tooth in that build as well. If you're going for the blue smite in the build, you want to get the Lichbane in that build as well. Now, there is a situation where if you have, for example, the Nashor's Tooth, and it's getting to very late game, you can also switch out your jungle item for the Lichbane to get way more turret pressure. If you want to like split push a lot, because split pushing on Diana is it's massive. She does so much turret damage that it's actually insane. If you have the combination of Lichbane and the Nashor's Tooth late game with like 8 to 900 AP, you literally two-shot turrets. Like you walk up to a turret, auto attack it twice, and it's gone. So that could be a situation if it gets to late game and you need to have that extra bit of pressure. So in the late game, you want to sell your jungle item for either the Lichbane or the Nashor's Tooth, whichever item you don't have yet, because, yeah, obvious reasons. Now, Deathcap and Void Staff are literally just basic AP items. Void Staff will give you a lot of magic penetration, which will matter a lot against magic resist, and Deathcap will just give you a massive AP boost to just increase your overall AP. If they have a lot of magic resist early on, then after Zonias you want to just get that Void Staff and pick it up fast so you can get the extra magic penetration to deal more damage through it. But most games you should be able to get away with getting the Death Cap in that slot, and then after that you can get a Void Staff in either the 5th or the 6th item slot depending on their magic resist again. If they build a lot of magic resist, then you have to get it after the Death Cap. If they don't build a lot of magic resist, then you can pick up that Lichbane or that Nashor's Tooth, depending on the enemy team and what jungle item you went for. That is pretty much the Diana build. If you enjoyed this video so far, make sure to hit the thumbs up. If you have any questions, make sure to ask them in the comments below. And let's get right into the gameplay now. Alright, welcome to the gameplay section of this guide. In this game, I'll be playing Diana into Elise, which is probably one of the worst matchups you could get if Elise plays it right, because she's an early game jungler, and Diana pre-level 6 doesn't really do too much. So this is actually a perfect one to show you guys how you should play this, and then just try to like capitalize on Elise's mistakes. Because most Elise players do make the same mistake of just like literally sitting in lanes and not farming at all between ganks. And then that's where you can really punish them. If they do farm like a good amount, then it's gonna be hard to win a lane against Elise, unless all of her ganks fail, or not a lane, not just the game in general. Unless all her ganks fail, which is very unlikely to happen, but it could still happen. It looks like they are trying for a random early invade. They ward it, I think. Yeah, they did ward it, but it doesn't matter. On Diana, you generally just want to start on your blue buff anyway, because it really helps you with just full clearing, because that's all you want to do on Diana, is just full clear. If you can get through that full clear, it's gonna be really quick on Diana, because her jungle clear speed is mental. Like, seriously, it's really good. Now, it looks like this game I actually have a machete, which is kind of questionable, to be honest. I mean, it does deal more auto attack damage, but the Hunter's Talisman is definitely better. I think this might have been one of the games where I was actually testing machete to see how it works, but I would definitely recommend Talisman, as I also mentioned before. Now, Diana's jungle clear is pretty basic. You literally just full clear, and then on level 3 you have to make sure you put that second point into your shield, because this is going to prevent you from taking like any damage at all. Clearing rates on Diana is pretty easy. As you can see, you just like group them up and you have so much AoE damage that it really doesn't matter. You can literally just hit it. Now for this red buff, my smite will come back up most likely. I mean, it's basic full clearing on Diana. Alright, looks like Elise started her red buff this game, which is interesting. Like, she went for a heavy clear though. Like, she went red and then cleared everything downwards, which is not the smartest. Actually, she might have started Wraiths. I probably didn't pay enough attention to that. But alright, here I am low. I see Elise gank bot lane, but there's not much I can do because I am low and I'm also Diana, so there's not... I'm like pretty useless early game, let me put it that way. But you cannot underestimate a gank where, like, for example, the top laner right here, this Riven, she's all the way pushed up. I have a red buff and I do have E plus flash. So this is a gank that is actually possible, and this is also something you should try to do with your red buff, because you always start blue buff on Diana. So you're always going to have red for a little bit longer, meaning that you're going to be able to gank like this, because all your camps will be down for a while. So you might, like, you need to do something with that time once your camps are down. And ganking with a red buff like that is always a pretty good choice. You can most of the time get a flash out of it, so it's really something I would recommend you to do with Diana in the early game, just to put out a little bit of pressure. There's not really a lot of pressure you can put out, but just a little bit is enough. Now, Elise is still bot lane. She has been bot lane for like ages right now, which is a like a big mistake a lot of like Elise players make, again, as I just mentioned. They stay around in lanes too long. Now, I looked at Elise's CS count, which is 13, which means that her Crocs are still up. That's why I went there. Now here, I thought I could get away with still getting her Wraith Camp. I get all the small ones, but the big one is for her, I think, there. I'm still 42 CS against 14, pretty much, so that's pretty decent. You do have to remember that a lot of the CS comes from Crocs, because Crocs are worth 10 CS. Now, here, Elise goes for an invade on me, but I'm level 5 right now, and she's also level 5, but she bought mobility boots, and I bought a blue smite. My base, like, my trading ability with the shield I have for my W will, like, trump all the damage Elise can do to me, because I'll always out-trade her. Plus, I'm gonna hit level 6 here as well, so she just walks in, and I'm level 6 right now. And at that point, she literally just loses the fight. Vel'Koz does show up, though, which could, like, is slightly problematic for me, but Darius shows up for my team. He places a ward over the wall, I just jump on Elise, and I kill Elise. Now at this point I wanted to walk up, but I saw Riven coming that way, so there was really no way for me to walk that way. Luckily Darius chased the Vel'Koz, which forced Vel'Koz to walk around, and I can get out of that situation. This was mostly just a questionable play on Elise, because she was actually really far behind in CS, and if she noticed that, then she would have known that I'm far up in experience, which means I'm gonna hit level 6 very soon. And as soon as I hit that level 6, there's really no fighting Diana as Elise, because Diana just outbursts you straight up. So that was a really strange move on her part. Now, my back right here is Boots with the Wisp, which provides me with a lot of mobility, like a lot of movement speed, mainly. And that's really key to get. Like, an early Wisp with Boots is like a really good pickup, because it's gonna make you run a lot faster around the map, which makes farming faster, and overall just ganking as well. Now here on Diana, just go back to full clearing your jungle, because you do it really fast, so if any camp is up on Diana before you gank, it's actually quite a big mistake. Unless, like, the gank is really free, but, like, you clear so fast that you should just be clearing your jungle camps and then ganking after, because there will be a big downtime between your jungle camps being, like down instead of up. I'm not sure what I'm saying there, but there will be a big time difference between your jungle camps and then being able to, like, gank in that time. Because you can't constantly farm your jungle, because they're, like, it's just not possible. Now here, Nami, it was in an awkward position. I saw her when I dashed over, and I pretty much just one-shot her. A straight-up combo, you have to remember, right, straight-up Diana combo here. Here I saw her when I planted over the wall. So she's standing in a brush, but it's warded for me, as you guys can see. And at that point, you just hit Q, and then you press, like, WR into the guy. He flashes out, he uses exhaust on me as well, but, like, he exhausted me too late to where my burst, like, most of my burst got through. Now here, I just walked up to the Vel'Koz, because I know that I can get in melee range of him. I have red buff, I can auto-attack him a couple times to get a bit of free damage onto him. Apart from that, there was really no kill pressure for me there, because I didn't have my ult up, since I used it to kill Nami, as she flashed away. Here, it just blocked the bullet for Caitlyn, and then we just walk out of this decision. I can't stay there. Also, I have 1300 gold, which will amount to me picking up my jungle item here with another Amplifying Tome. That Amplifying Tome is just there, like, there's nothing else to get, because Sorks are definitely the boots you want to get on Diana. So that Amplifying Tome will just go into the Zonias. Now here, Ashe was saying she had arrow, I remember this. She also pinged arrow ready, as you can see in the chat right there. But she shot it like 5 years late. Now this guy has cleanse, so he just uses cleanse and gets out. I see that Elise is on Darius right there, so I walk up. Now here, I walked over ward so Elise knows it's warded. If, like, she didn't know, if she didn't throw that stun, I could have actually killed her there. Like, I can straight up one-shot Elise at this point. Diana has so much burst potential and squishy targets. Like, as you can see right here, so I deal a lot of damage to that Vel'Koz. I just delete him off the bat. And then here, I use my E to pull Caitlyn a little closer. It wasn't necessary, but I just, I thought at that stage in time, I pressed it whilst she all polymorphed at the same time. And your E on Diana can block flashes and dashes. Hey, that rhymes. Alright, she can block the flash, so if someone flashes away and you time it perfectly, then you can actually pull him out of the flash and pull him back towards you. Same goes for Caitlyn's E and all that kind of stuff, all the dashes, it works the same way. Darius walks in the flank here. I'm pretty sure I just go for the Q. I tried to hit both, but I only hit the Nami with that one. As soon as Elise drops, I think I can just go on her. Actually, I'm not sure why I didn't go. My ult's not on cooldown. I could have just gone. But she flashes over the wall, which is fine. So we can pick up a couple turrets now. Another thing with Diana is she is extremely good at pushing turrets because of her passive. So early game is not that great. But as soon as you get a little bit of AP, you really notice the amount of damage you can deal to turrets. As you can see, every like third hit I do with this just deals a pretty good chunk to the turret. And this goes like this starts to become crazier and crazier the later this game goes. So on Diana, it's really beneficial to like split push later in the game if you get the chance to. You are a jungler in this case, like my guides for jungle Diana, you are a jungler in this case, so you have to make sure that you don't split push bot lane whilst Baron is up. Because at that point they can just solo that, like they can easily just pick up a free Baron. But if you have a chance, Baron is down, or like you're split pushing top lane close to the Baron, or anything like that, split pushing on Diana is really beneficial, since you can literally take turrets in about 10 seconds tops. Like, before they can even react, you already have a turret down. Especially if you have Lich Bane. If you have Lich Bane, you're literally just gonna two-shot turrets. Like, you just hit it 2 or 3 times and you just kill it. So that's really fucking good. That's why split pushing on Diana is really, like, essential. And it's probably something I'll do this game as well. Because I usually do it every single game on Diana. Now, that interaction was actually really weird. What the fuck happened here, actually? I remember this and I was, like, super confused of what the hell actually happened here. Now, I cleared a minion wave here, and Caitlyn actually walks up to hit the turret, so I just dash on her, and then my E just throws her to the side instead of towards me. If it pulled her back towards me, my W would have hit 2 more times on her, and she got like 2 or 3 extra turret shots, and that would have actually been in kill range. So that's like kind of a strange interaction in that situation. Not sure what happened there. Now here I'm quite low on mana, so there's really not much you can do. If you're low on mana on Diana, there's like very little you can actually do to help your team. That's why going for the Hunter's Potion is essential, because it gives you a lot of sustain towards mainly your mana pool. And if you don't buy that potion, you're gonna have like low mana for pretty much like your entire clear. Unless you have blue buff, of course, but that's why that potion is really big. You need mana to do stuff on Diana. Now here, fight's breaking out. I'm running towards it. I'm just on my way. Like, as soon as I get to this fight, I'm easily just able to clean this up. Falco stands in a very bad position, so I can literally just get the flank on him. I burst about 80% of his HP bar, and then he flashes out. I didn't get the chance to ult him for the second time, because I did get stunned by Elise, and he also flashes out. If I got my second ult proc off, that probably would have one-shot the Falcos. Now at this point, I have 75 CS, which, like, on Diana is pretty average to have a lot of farm, because you farm that fast. And also, if you're against an early game jungler like Elise, you can get a lot of counter jungle camps in as well. Because that's all you're gonna really be able to do early game before level 6, is just counter jungle a lot. And then maybe that one gank with red buff, as I mentioned before. Now here my camps are up again, red buff spawning. I'm just gonna keep clearing. The main thing you gotta remember on Diana is always to keep clearing, because you wanna scale up, you wanna get items. And as soon as you get like 2 or 3 items, then you're just easily going to be able to carry team fights if you play them correctly by just one-shotting squishies straight up. Now here I placed a pink ward. My goal was to bait Nami into killing that pink ward, so she walks up and I just one-shot her, but that doesn't seem to happen here. Now they can't see me on the ward because there is a pink ward and it blinds their ward, so I can just stand here and then just wait for this to happen, because I'm pretty sure they're going to do the dragon soon. Now, that's another one of those Ashe arrows. I think she's missed like 2 or 3 arrows like that this game so far. Now I'm looking to pressure them here just to throw a couple Qs in. I can't really go in 1v3 here because that's just not going to work out for me. Vel'Koz bursts the Orianna down, and I'm still looking for, like, to get the engage here. Darius has his TP up, so that could be a thing here. I'm not sure what happens. I'm still waiting. They're starting dragon here. Darius might TP soon on that ward. Still looking for the engage. If I land that Q on the Caitlyn, I can just go in and one-shot her. She is the prime target I'm looking for here, because she is most of their damage at the moment. Alright, Darius does teleport in, and we look to start the dragon right now, I think. I'm just on the dragon, standing behind in the pit. I can tank this for quite a bit. I'm just waiting for them to engage on us. Alright, doesn't look like this is gonna happen, so I just smite the dragon and flash out. That was quite an awkward fight. We got cornered heavily, and we didn't have Orianna in that situation, so the best case scenario was for us to actually get that dragon there, even though they do get a couple kills out of that. Now here they're over chasing like heavily. This Riven is heavily out of position, so I just dash over with R and then W her. Another thing you have to remember on Diana, by the way, guys, is that it is not always the best play to Q first and then R. I know a lot of Diana players, usually they just don't use their R at all unless they can combo their Q with it, which is kind of questionable because a lot of the engages from Diana just come from WRing onto somebody and then Qing them or like EQing them. It's like a really good one-shot mechanic that you can easily use, even though it doesn't reset your R. As soon as you have enough, like, either level advantage or just item advantage, AP on the enemy, you're just gonna be able to delete squishies with a simple WR auto attack or a WRQ or anything like that. So I always find it questionable when I see Dianas never go just for an R engage, and especially if you go with the build I go for, which is a Zonia's Rush after your jungle item and boots. You are easily able to just WR onto somebody, then EQ them, and then just burst them for that, and just you're probably gonna one-shot them, especially if you have a little lead, like on the game. And at that point, like, you can just press Zonias and just wait for your cooldowns to come back, and then press your W again to get another shield, and at that point your R should have like a good 9-second cooldown left or something like that. So I don't really see the point in people saving their R a lot of the times, and that's something you guys have to remember. If you want to play Diana, just don't play too conservative with your R. Don't be a little bitch, pretty much. Just jump in and one-shot the squishy and just press Zonias. Your team will most likely follow up in a lot of situations. Now here we're just looking to do the Rift Herald. I wanted to just combo my Q. Like, another thing you can actually do on Diana is, what I try to do there, is just to combo as many spells as you possibly can with your smite. Another, like, a great, like, thing to secure Barons and Dragons with is to smite WR, smite QWR at the same time. So you Q first, and then you WR smite. That's gonna burst something for like at least 2000 damage if you have a little bit of AP. Like, it's really difficult for anyone to outsmite you. Lee Sin is probably one of the best ones to steal it with. At least it's another good one. But if you use that combo, the QWR smite combo, just at the same time, then there's really nothing that's actually gonna outsmite you. Now here I have 2.2k gold, which is my Zonias, so that's what I'm looking to back for. Getting Zonias on Diana as the third item is a massive damage spike. It's not a damage spike really, it's more a massive power spike because you're able to use that WR onto a squishy target and then Q them real quick after and then just pop that Zonias to ensure that you're like safe and you can get out after you just one-shot somebody. That is why that's really a big power spike, and you're like, you can, if you watch a lot of my Diana gameplay, you can really see that I instantly switch to super aggressive mode as soon as I pick up that Zonias, because I can get away with a lot of stuff. Now here we picked up the Herald earlier, and this is a really good time to place it. I just killed their Vel'Koz and their Riven, so we can just push this all the way, and that's what we're doing here. Now, I literally just one-shot. This is a perfect example of what I mean. I'm gonna slow this down for you guys. This is a perfect example of what I mean. You don't always have to QR, and that's, like, most of the time that's actually, in certain situations, not most of the time actually, in certain situations that's actually a bad call to go for QR, because that's predictable and dodgeable. Now here, Elise walks up. I'm just looking for an opportunity to go on her. I stack up my my passive to where I have my sword to deal more damage, so my auto attack also lands for that, and I just one-shot her. Literally all I did was WR. It's undodgeable for Elise, especially since she switched back to human form and didn't remain in spider form, so she got repel. So all I did was just WR onto her, auto attack with the third auto attack that I stacked off the inhibitor, and then finish her off with a Q. That's a really good burst combo that you have to remember on Diana, and like, it is really deadly. People can't react to that. It's instant and it's undodgeable. It's not like the QR combo, like the slower combo, which I did there to get the reset, as you can see. Like, in that situation, that was better, because they were grouping heavily, and if you can get that Q on to multiple targets, you can have a pick of a target. Alright, here, right here. They group up. I just throw a Q on him, and I just burst him for like a little bit, like as much damage as possible, as I possibly can. I did get exhausted though, so Nami survives that situation, and because I did get exhausted there and she survived that, we can actually not end the game right here. Because if I didn't get exhausted and one-shot her, I would have been able to just kill this Riven, and I would have just let Vel'Koz. And then with Elise respawning, and at that point we would have actually been able to keep fighting that and win the game, but in this situation that didn't happen. I'm 10-0-2. The main thing, again, what I just did this game is farm as much as possible, which is an essential thing on Diana. Just farm, 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 and then just get stronger and scale up and take potential ganks where you actually can. Now here, I just wanted to pick up the red buff before I went out of the jungle. I have a lot of burst damage, so I probably, like, I had enough time to take it before Elise could get there. Now here, I have red buff sustain, and this is like something that puzzled me a bit. I was really low here, but I smited. I get like a good amount of HP back, but at this point you have red buff. And what red buff does, it gives you a lot of health sustain. And I just pretty much regen my entire HP bar back in like a couple seconds, as you can see right now. Now, I'm not sure what this Elise was thinking here. Like, after she made this play, I can remember that she said, like, I thought you were still low. But even if I was still low, I would have still been able to just one-shot her. Like, she did, like, what? Maybe 100 damage to me right there. And I just one-shot her. So, that was a kind of a questionable play on her end. I think she's getting kind of desperate at this point. Also, Elise should not be going for blue smite. If that Elise went for red smite, she's gonna be able to prevent a lot of my burst damage, and in those situations, she might have a better chance of actually 1v1ing me. I mean, at this point in the game, I have 11 kills, and it's really not gonna happen, but yeah. Now here I'm probably sitting, I'm sitting on about 3k gold. I need about 3,400 for death cap, I think. Yeah, whoa, okay. We make a strange Baron call right here. I'm actually curious to see how this one ends up. Diana is able to tank Baron for a while because of her shield, her W shield, so she can take quite a lot of hits. And since I'm quite fat, I deal a lot of damage as well, so I think this might actually work out. I used Smite there to heal myself a little bit. Right, I'm not sure why I stood still there, but we barely didn't make it. We missed on like 300, 400 HP. Holy shit. But, like, as you can see, Diana can take a lot of damage just through her W shield, and that's, like, pretty big. I'm dead for like 30 seconds. I am currently just a little bit of gold away from getting my death cap here, so I think I just look to pick that up soon. I respawn here and I just go declare one camp and recall most likely. Because death cap is your massive damage spike. I think I picked that up right now. Yeah, that's a death cap. Alright, slow it down again. Death cap on Diana is like your biggest power spike. It's gonna provide you with insane amounts of AP and just gonna provide you with like one-shot potential. Now here they engage, they kill Ashe, but like they trade 1v1 with the Riven, which I don't mind because our Ashe is kind of useless and that Riven is just like, holy fuck, wait. Wait, what did I just do there, dude? What the fuck? Alright, just a little bit faster and then slow it down. Alright, so they group up quite close together here, which is really bad against Diana. If you can just, like, get the R. I wanted to flash R them, I think, and then Elise got me with the stun, actually, damn. I should have waited for her to throw it and then flash over it, or flash to the side, and then R in. But in that situation, if they group up like that, I literally just press WR on one of the targets there. I don't even have to Q. I just press WR and I'm just gonna destroy them with, like, a lot of AoE damage from the W, and then the Q I can throw after to one-shot like 2 people. So grouping up against Diana is a pretty bad call. Now here, this is where a fight breaks out, it looks like. I go in, wait, actually, let me rewind that a little bit. Alright, Caitlyn splits off here, which is not the smartest move on her part, because she's quite squishy, and all I have to do is get that R on her. My W's on cooldown, so I'm not WRing her straight off the bat. I'm just trying to Q her in that situation, because without W, your R, like, straight up going on her is not going to deal enough damage. I prep Zonias, which is going to keep me safe for a little bit and give me my cooldowns back. Elise walks up, we kill Elise, and I think I die here. Yeah, I die there. Caitlyn kills me. That's my second death. I mean, it's technically my first death, because the other death was an execute to the Baron, but yeah. If I had my W up right there, I could have easily just WR'd the Caitlyn. And then I would have one-shot her with the Q afterwards. That's like a perfect example of why WR is a really good thing. Because she was trying really hard to dodge my Q. And that's a really good thing to do because a lot of Dianas hang on to their Q until they can hit it. And if they don't hit it, they sometimes won't even go in. And in that situation I had to hit it because my W was on cooldown and I wouldn't have done enough damage to actually kill her without it. I hear my team's looking to push for the turret. I don't think this is gonna work out because, like, I'm pretty much the team. Orianna does quite a lot of damage as well, but she's kind of low, so that's probably not gonna work out. Darkle shreds them, Riven kills that, and then, yeah. They pick up some kills. Now, what the thing they're looking for here is they're looking for Baron, which honestly isn't the smartest plan since I just came back alive. Diana has a lot of AoE damage, which means that if they're grouping close together, like a Baron pit close together, then they're instantly gonna get one shot. And I remember this. This is exactly what's gonna happen. Look at their carries, right? They're grouping together right here. All I have to do is land one Q. It's gonna hit like 2 or 3 targets. It's gonna hit all 3 targets, and then I just WR in, get an instant double kill, pick up the other kill, and then I can just like, this is easy. I'm level 15, they're both level 11, I just win this, even if I'm attacking Baron, it doesn't matter. I still have my R up, I still have like QW here. So, yeah. Actually, I might not have had my W, because I would have used it, that's kind of weird. I think the cooldowns are off. Because if I had a W there, I would have definitely WR'd the Elise, and she would have died for sure. Yeah, that's a perfect example of why grouping closely together against Diana is a really big mistake, and that's why she's really good at, like, 1v5 killing people on Baron, because Baron threats magic resist to the targets, and then they're gonna become more squishy, and then Diana can just waltz in and just be like, hey, you're dead now. Alright, team wants to do Baron, which is a pretty good, like, timing to do Baron. Now, my smite is on cooldown, so I am just looking to go for the Elise here, to zone her out and just one-shot her. We're both the jungler, and there's really no one else from the enemy team that can actually show up and do something. So if I zone the Elise, my smite's on cooldown, she can't steal it, and then we just... Yeah, then my team should just be able to do the Baron. We killed the Riven there, my smite came back up, and we get the Baron. I think at this point we just end the game. Alright, I buy a Void Staff here, which... I'm not sure if I had more money. I had 2400 gold. You need about 26 something for Lich Bane, I think, with a Amplifying Tome. So I didn't have the money for that. Usually in this situation, I would pick up a Lich Bane, because they don't have much magic resist. Like, the only magic resist I can really see here is a little bit from Vel'Koz with that cloak here, and then the Negatron cloak on Elise, and that's about it. That's about all the magic resist they have. So, actually a QSS on Riven, I guess. So at that point, if they don't really have any magic resist, it's better to go for Lich Bane since you will do more damage. And especially Lich Bane on Diana since you can push turrets in like 2 seconds. Now here the plan was to probably just go and split push something, I don't know. That's usually what I look for. I guess Ash is still top. She kills the Elise. I mean, at this point, as you can see, it's kind of done. Like, if Diana skills up, you're gonna just have a lot of pain. So I just one-shot the Caitlyn with just a QR, I think that was. And at this point, I'm just looking for the Vel'Koz, really. Because Riven's really not gonna be a threat to my team, since Ashe has a slowing effect on her Q. She can kite her a bit, and Vel'Koz ult's the only thing that's gonna really deal any damage. As you can see, my passive deals a massive chunk to that turret. Again here, massive chunk to the inhibitor. Oh, by the way, guys, a thing you have to remember on Diana, it's a little thing that, it matters a lot, actually. On inhibitors and the Nexus, for example, Diana's passive does work, but you have to stand close to it. If you do not stand right next to it and then just, like, against it, pretty much, your passive is not gonna hit the inhibitor. So if you're looking to, like, backdoor inhibitors or just a split push in general, make sure that against an inhibitor and the Nexus, stand right next to it. If you don't stand right next to it, you're not gonna hit your passive on the inhibitor or Nexus. And that's gonna matter a lot in, like, the clear speed on the inhibitor slash Nexus. So that's one thing you guys have to remember. That's pretty much it for this guide, honestly. If you enjoyed this video, please do make sure to hit the thumbs up below, as this does help me out a lot. If you want to see more videos from me in the future, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well. And also leave any questions you have on Diana in the comments below. And yeah, see you guys in the next video. Bye!